Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just hit the link in the show description to support now.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Cognitive Recalibration podcast. As always, I'm your host Shravan. We've got Taran here with us.
Hey everyone.
We're back.
We are back.
We're back after a while. Seems like a lot's happened. This is going to be another unedited episode, similar to our Doctor Strange one. So we're recording remotely. We're recording remotely because, I guess we could have done this in person, but you're not feeling 100%. I'm not feeling 100% either.
I'm feeling a lot better. I did die for about a week and a half.
Yeah.
Then, like Jesus, I was resurrected on a Sunday.
Oh, yes. You were back yesterday. Yeah. So
I may pause awkwardly during this at some point. It's because I can hear my own voice coming in. So I'm kind of like listening to myself while I'm talking. It's actually harder than it sounds.
Yeah, I had that before, but I managed to fix it. But anyway, it's too late now. We're going to have to continue. We're going to be talking about Moonknight, which actually came out a little while back now. So it's also going to be a bit of an examination of how well we can remember this show. So as usual, we'll do like a bit of background and we'll do comic book origins because we've never talked about Moonknight before on this podcast. So we'll do a little bit about his comic books and then we'll get straight into our thoughts on the show and we'll do some spoilers as well after that. One thing I'll say before we get into the show itself is with all the Disney Plus shows, I feel like straight after I watch them, I do like them. Like I like them, but then like a month later, which is now for this show, I do forget them.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah, and it's not I feel like it's just the same with all the shows. Like they are decent, but they're not that memorable.
I think all the shows can be put into, this is my Moonknight, a bridge Moonknight review. You can put this on TikTok. It'll be like a 10-second clip. Okay. So this is Marvel shows, every single one. The first 2 episodes set up with an interesting concept and you're like, oh, this could go somewhere interesting. Then the next 3 episodes are filler episodes. Then the last episode is a fight.
Pretty much. Yeah. There's always a bit of filler in the middle. They usually get off to a decent start and then there's usually a fight at the end. So it sounds about right.
Yeah. And so they're all of even quality, I guess. Some are worse, some are slightly better, but they're all around the same.
Yeah, I would say so. So this one has 6 episodes. It was created by Jeremy Slater. So I looked into what he's done before. Can you guess one of the things that he's done before?
He founded the company Slater and Gordon. They look after
lawyers,
injury management. Is that it?
Maybe. It's not on his Wikipedia, but maybe that's his like side business. Other movies he's done. I'm not sure if he's a lawyer or not, but he was involved in Fantastic Four, the movie Fantastic Four, the 2015 Fantastic Four, so the Fan Four stick, and also Death Note, the Netflix show, the Netflix movie Death Note, which are both not super well received properties. But he's also been involved with Umbrella Academy, which constantly had the 3rd season come out this week. Are you watching that?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of it.
Yeah, if we have time, if we get through all the episodes we're meant to get through, we might do an episode on that one. But that's all he's done in the past. So he was involved in, I guess, the thing of note that he's done is Umbrella Academy and also The Exorcist, the show. not the movie, which came out like 50 years ago, so obviously not the movie. It ran between, this show ran between the 30th of March to the 4th of May. The last episode was like the week that Doctor Strange came out. And I mean, with Hawkeye, there was like a mild reference to what happened in Spider-Man No Way Home, in a way. I mean, not even a reference, but, you know, there was a character that was related to another character in that movie. In this one, not so much. So it's kind of almost like a standalone. Like, if you didn't know that this was in the MCU, it probably might not be in the MCU. Like, there's nothing that's connecting it to other stuff. Is there? I don't remember any references to like the Avengers or anything like that, right?
No, I don't think so. I did watch it a month ago. Maybe there was, but I don't think there was.
Yeah, it's also
except for that graphic sex scene between Iron Man and the Hulk. It's in episode 3.
Okay,
did you miss that part?
I did. Maybe it wasn't on my version of Disney Plus.
Might have just been my version, especially made for me.
Yeah, so it's also not set in America. So it's set in the UK initially, and then it's set in Egypt after that. So it's kind of disconnected from the rest of the universe in that way too. Comic book origin. So what do you reckon Moon Knight first debuted in the comics?
1973.
Yeah, surprisingly pretty close. 1975 in a comic called Werewolf by Night, issue number 32.
Actually, making a Halloween special for that.
Oh, okay. Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
Like a Disney Plus show? Or?
Yeah, Disney Plus. Yeah. I don't think it's a show. I think it's
just a one-off.
Like a one-off movie thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Who's going to be in it? Moon Knight?
No, the werewolf guy. The werewolf.
The werewolf.
The how do you say that word? Titular werewolf. Did I say that word right?
I don't know what word. I don't know what word you're talking about. Titular?
Title?
Titular.
Titular. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
The titular character. Okay.
Yeah.
We're not English majors, so yeah.
No. We're British majors. That was I don't even know if that was a joke. I'm not sure. Can we cut that out?
Well, I did say at the start of the episode we're not going to edit this, so this is going to be a very difficult episode for our listeners to get through. Team affiliations wise, so he's been a part of the Avengers. He's been a part of the Secret Avengers. What's the difference between the Avengers and the Secret Avengers?
One of them's a secret.
No one knows about them.
But you would be surprised. It's actually the Avengers that's the secret, and the Secret Avengers that aren't the secret.
Yeah, they're more well known. There's also the West Coast Avengers, so he's part of that. Although, did they change his origin a little bit in this? So is he originally an American character?
Well,
part of it.
Yeah, because part of him is American character.
Yeah, part of it him is, yeah. But yeah, West Coast Avengers, Defenders, Midnight Suns, Marvel Knights, Heroes for Hire, and United States Marine Corps Force. So he's part of the army or something, I guess. Well, he one of the characters is, right, or was. He's part of a lot of teams. Other notable aliases, Fist of Khonshu and Mr. Knight. I'm pretty sure we see Mr. Knight in this. Abilities. So he's an expert detective. So initially, Moon Knight was kind of like Marvel's Batman, right?
Part of the character is based off Batman, I think.
Yeah. So he's an expert. He's meant to be an expert detective. He's proficient in martial arts and armed combat. He utilizes high-tech equipment, and he's got mystical vision. So apart from that last one, the other three are basically just Batman. I mean, if you think of Batman, that's the stuff he does as well. Formerly, so currently in the comic book run, he doesn't have these powers, but formerly he had increased strength, speed, and endurance depending on the lunar cycle. I think in this show he does have increased strength, I'm pretty sure, and he can jump really far. I don't think he can fly, but he can jump.
I'm remembering a scene where he flies in this. In the last episode? Does he fly?
Or
does he just jump really far?
maybe he flies. He's got a cape and he does stuff.
This is not a good review. I don't remember the show. He could fly.
Yeah, possibly. But yeah, I think the show is a little bit different to. He didn't really give off like detective type vibes for me anyway in the show. There's parts of it that they do some like investigation stuff, but in terms of his alter egos, like they both didn't seem like they were that smart as such, or detectives. But maybe when they go into the character a bit more in other properties, maybe we'll see that come out. Anything else on comic book stuff? Anything else you know?
I'm just trying to remember what the show was about.
Yeah, so what is the show about? What's the story of the show?
Well, there is the titular hero, Moonknight.
Yeah.
And he gets into some trouble with some bad guys. Ethan Hawke from Black Phone.
Yeah, a movie that we can talk about that. That's something we watched a little bit more recently, so we can talk about that later.
Let's talk about that right now. Let's stop this review and talk about that for a while. Yeah, so Ethan Hawke's getting up to no good, and Oscar Isaac.
Arthur Harrow, I think he's...
Arthur Fleck from Joker, yeah.
Yeah. Another character that we know. But yeah, Ethan Hawke's in this. I didn't mention that before. He's like the main villain. There's also his wife's character, or one of the alter ego's wife's character. Obviously Oscar Isaac, who I didn't mention, but Oscar Isaac is the main character. He does a pretty good job playing the different...
He's got different characters in him.
Multiple personalities, yeah.
And yeah, they're saving the world because there's gods and stuff.
Egyptian gods, yeah.
That's a very well explained plot summary of Moonknight.
Well, to be honest, like there isn't that much to the story apart from that.
I wasn't lying. I was telling the truth. That's really well explained.
Yeah. So we can get into positives and negatives. So I do have some positives. So when I was, especially the first two episodes, I thought there was something a little bit different. It's definitely a bit darker for the MCU compared to basically all the other stuff that we've got so far in the MCU.
Do you mean lighting?
Yeah, in terms of lighting and in terms of tone, I guess. It has horror elements. I wouldn't say it's a horror show or anything, but there are parts of it that do have some horror elements. And the multiple personalities that they explore, I thought that was really interesting. That's probably the best part of the show because it is a Marvel property. It's forced to be a superhero show as well. The actual superhero stuff in this show I found to be not very appealing. And the action, parts of it were okay, but nothing spectacular. Nothing you can compare with like other stuff we've seen in Marvel movies or anything like that. So I thought the action was overall forgettable. And every time it started becoming a superhero property, I didn't really find it that interesting. So that's my negative.
It is. It's a forgetful show, I guess, because I don't remember most of it now, and I don't think it had much of an impact on me at the time when I watched it. It washed over me, and I was like, "Yeah, this is good. I enjoy this." But thinking back to it, there's nothing in the series that completely stands out or makes it like the rewatch value is very low. I would say.
Yeah. I would say the rewatch value is generally low for all the Disney Plus shows. All the Marvel, all the Disney Plus shows. I would even put the Star Wars ones in the same category. Like I wouldn't really rewatch any of them.
Yeah, I think it's mostly because the action isn't that great, and the storyline is pretty basic in most of them anyway. Yeah. So, like, what are you rewatching it for? Like, you don't really rewatch stuff for character moments or whatever.
Unless I think the character moments are actually the best part of this show, but they kind of like it comes out much more in the final episode. I thought the final episode dealt with some deeper themes, which was actually good. But And another thing about the show is I feel like 6 episodes it's either too short or
too long.
Or too, like, they could have...
Those are the two options. Or it's just right.
It's just right, yeah. Well, it wasn't just right. So I think it could have been a pretty effective movie, like if they got rid of some elements, because there is some filler in there. So if they got rid of the filler and just made it into a movie, I think it might have been a more effective movie. Or if they actually explored some other themes, like those more deeper character themes that they kind of addressed in the final episode, I think it could have been like 8 episodes and it could have been a bit more interesting. So the stuff that they did have in the middle just wasn't really, like, I don't even remember it now. So like stuff happened, but it wasn't really that important to the plot either.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it sounds like we're being pretty negative on this, but it is a good one-time watch show.
I think we should review everything we watch 1 month after we watch it to kind of give us some downtime. Because I think if I reviewed this straight away, I would have said, yeah, it was amazing, like best Marvel show ever. But a month down the track, it's like, yeah, whatever. Like watching Miss Marvel now.
Yeah, watching Miss Marvel now. And I think, well, it could change in a month's time, but I think Miss Marvel is probably better than
heading
this.
Down. I think Miss Marvel's probably heading down the same. We've got to wait 1 month and review Miss Marvel as well. Because I think it's probably going to be the same.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Like, none of the shows are standout. Like, there hasn't been a single show that I could say is, like, absolutely amazing. You have to watch this. Like, initially, after you do watch it, it's kind of like, yeah, it's good. Like, it's a good show. You should watch it. But
I think
down the line, it's not.
I think they're good filler in the middle of all the MCU movies that are delayed because they've had years to film them and they haven't been able to. So it's just like, oh, we'll put this show in to like give people something to watch. And then as an added bonus, they get to introduce extra characters into the universe that they can bring back. And if they put them in a movie down the track, people will be like, oh, that's amazing. This guy had a TV show. Rather than just being a random bloke that they've never seen before.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's the only benefit from this. I would say overall, Phase 4 has been pretty underwhelming. So what's the best thing that's come out so far in Phase 4? Movies and shows.
Movies and shows, best thing. I'm trying to remember what came out in Phase 4.
I would probably say it's Spider-Man No Way Home. That's probably the best thing.
For me, it's the speech that Captain America gives at the end of that Captain America show, where he's like, "Hey, politicians, you got to do better." Just that scene. Yeah. That's the best thing.
That's probably
He's like, politicians, just do your job and
you got to do stuff. Yeah,
don't be racist.
Yeah. I think everything else has been pretty forgettable. So that speech and Spider-Man. That speech and Spider-Man No Way Home. Everything else has been pretty forgettable.
And also the part in Doctor Strange where America Chavez kills her parents.
Because of a bee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those 3 moments, everything else, put it in the bin.
Yeah, I mean, that's Moonknight. That's our thoughts, spoiler-free on Moonknight. We can jump into spoilers in a second. So was there anything else non-spoiler?
No, I don't think there's that much spoiler as well, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Okay, so if you haven't seen Moonknight, go watch it. We didn't really sell it in this episode, but
we made it.
It is a decent show. Go watch it and come back to this point in the episode and listen to our spoilers. So we won't go episode to episode because we don't remember it. But we will go overall, like what happens in the show. So I thought the first episode was pretty interesting because you first meet up with Stephen Grant, who's the British guy, and he's obviously got some sleeping disorder by the looks of it in the first episode, and he has like some trippy dreams and stuff. So I'm pretty sure in the first episode he ends up somewhere in Europe and he meets Arthur Harrow. So he meets Ethan Hawke and some stuff happens and he ends up killing people. And then he wakes up again and he's back in London. I thought that was pretty good. Like, it was a good start to the series. It set up a bit of a mystery. And then as the series goes on, so you meet his other alter ego, who is Mark Spector, and he's American. What did you think of Oscar Isaac's accents?
I think they were pretty good. You kind of ease into it. It was a bit jarring to begin with, but as the show goes on, you don't really notice it that much.
Yeah. I guess his British accent was decent enough. And then you get introduced to the Egyptian gods. So I thought all the Egyptian god stuff was pretty decent.
Yeah. It's like crocodile men and...
Yeah.
And there's that guy.
Like hippopotamus or something?
Yeah, there's a hippo. Yeah.
Yeah. Production values wise, it was pretty decent. Nothing spectacular, but I thought it was pretty good.
Some of it looks like it's filmed in a cupboard, and other parts look good. And some of the like transformations to Moonknight is sometimes it doesn't look great, but sometimes it looks great. So it's weird.
I thought the Moonknight costume, like it's good, but it looked too CGI. Like
at times, yeah.
It didn't look like, because you could do it practically, that costume. Like, there's no reason for that to be CGI.
Just get a lot of bandages and wrap him.
Yeah. Because even the Iron Man costume, there was parts of it that were practical and parts of it that were CGI. This feels like they could have done it practically, but I'm pretty sure 90% of the time it was CGI, and it made it look a bit artificial. We do see the first glimpse of the costume at the end of episode 2, I'm pretty sure, where he does some stuff in the museum. And so what was the deal with him, like, getting attacked by different spirits and stuff? That, like, the first 2 or 3 episodes, he's being attacked by just creatures that no one else can see.
You should ask a guy that remembers the show. But did Arthur Harrow send them to him? I don't know.
Maybe. The other thing, the villain in the show, Ethan Hawke was really good, but like I just didn't get the deal with the villain. Like he just seemed to be like super powerful. Like he could do whatever he wants, and he's just a human, right? But he's got like a magical staff or something, and he also walks into this tribunal with all the gods, and like they just summon him, and I just felt like all this stuff was like it was all happening.
He walks with the glassity shoes.
Actually, that was the first scene of the whole show, right, where they show that
with glassity shoes. Yeah. It's for arch support.
Okay.
That's his orthotics.
It's what you prescribe, right?
Yeah.
Just smash some glass, put it in your shoes, and walk around.
Yeah.
Did they ever explain why he does that?
No.
Like, there's a lot of stuff around the villain that wasn't really explained. Like, he's just doing stuff. I'm like, okay.
But you should also ask someone that's actually seen the show that as well.
Yeah, and he walks. The whole thing around the show is getting that scarab as well. Like, well, some of the show it's like getting the scarab for something because they want to release.
They want to release Amit.
Amit, yeah, that Amit. I do remember.
DJ Amit. That's a guy we know.
It's a guy we know. We'll just leave it at that.
It's a guy I know. You don't really know him.
No, I'm pretty sure he was the DJ at our...
Oh, yeah, he was the DJ at your wedding. Yeah.
So I do know him. Now everyone knows who the DJ was at my wedding. But yeah, it's DJ and an Egyptian god. Yeah, so that happened. So Amit's like an evil god or something. Yeah.
I guess.
And Khonshu is the god of... What is he the god of? The god of night or something?
I don't know what he's the god of, but like Khonshu kills people after they do something bad.
Yes.
Amit kills them before they do something bad. Just like not that different, but
yeah,
you know, they hate each other.
Yeah, but Khonshu is also like not good, right?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
no one's good in this.
The person who did the voice of Khonshu, I thought he was really good. I don't remember the name, but
it was DJ Amit.
Yeah, so I thought that was really good. And the finale, was probably one of the best episodes in this series because they explore the background of Mark and Steve. So are they brothers?
Mark and Steve, they're the same person.
So, okay, maybe you'll remember this. So do you remember that flashback where I thought his brother dies, right? His brother drowns or something.
Yeah.
And his mother starts to resent him and like doesn't like him. And then he leaves. And then, so is that all just Mark? Or is that Mark and...
So Mark kills his brother or whatever. His brother drowns and his mum blames him for that.
Yeah.
Then she starts beating him. And he develops DID as a result of that. And there's some TV show with a guy called Stephen Grant in it. And he becomes that guy.
Oh, so now I remember. So he creates this alternate personality so that whenever his mum's beating him, he's the other.
Yes.
It's kind of to escape.
Yeah, he develops DID as a result of that, and then he creates that.
And he also gets really good at a British accent.
Yes.
So most of the time he was born Mark Spector, so that's his like original identity, and then he creates Stephen, what's his name? Stephen Grant.
Stephen Grant.
Yeah, and at the end of the season, you find out that there's actually a third identity, and it's hinted throughout the show that stuff happens without the knowledge of both Stephen and Mark. So, like, people just randomly get killed, and it's neither of them that does it. So you know that there's something weird going on. And even in the last episode, I think the third personality comes out and does something, and they don't never really explain what happened. But at the end of the show, you find out that there is another personality that also lives in them, and his name is Jake or something, right?
It's Jake Lockley.
So he's like a even deadlier assassin than Mark.
I think he's just a crazy bloke.
Yeah. So that person's in him as well, and they leave it at that. So that was probably the most interesting part of the show, where they leave it. I don't think they've announced a season 2 as such.
No, I don't think they have.
So maybe they'll roll Moonknight into other shows or probably other movies or something, but they'll definitely bring him back.
Maybe he'll be Werewolf by Night.
So is Werewolf, but is it just a guy that's a werewolf? It's not like a Marvel character or anything.
By Night.
Yeah.
He's a Marvel character.
Is a werewolf.
Yeah, it's a Marvel character that's a werewolf. Why is it so hard for you to understand?
Yeah, I want details. Like, why? Why is he? So, does he have a link to like vampires?
He's a werewolf. Do you know what werewolves are?
Yeah, well, most werewolves turn into werewolves by night. So
they put it in the title, so it doesn't surprise you for this one.
Yeah. So is it linked to Blade or anything?
It's linked as it's in the Marvel universe.
Okay, yeah. So it is inherently linked. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So we'll see what he returns in, but I'm sure they wouldn't have cast someone like Oscar Isaac to just have him in one show. So I'm sure he'll be back. I did remember that the music in the show is pretty good. The music's
good.
They use some like Middle Eastern, Egyptian type tunes, which are pretty good. They do go to Egypt, but I'm pretty sure it was all green screen. Do you remember that? Do you remember the part where he like opens a curtain and he's like in Egypt?
Yeah, he's in a cupboard with a picture of Egypt on the wall.
Yeah, I'm like, that looks so fake. It just didn't look like he was there.
He was in my bedroom, and they just put a picture of Egypt on the window. They filmed that.
Yeah, but overall, it's good. It's decent.
It's not that bad. We shit on it a little bit. It's not the worst.
It's not the worst.
Yeah,
I think the worst show is probably still Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Probably. Except
for that part where he says the speech about not being racist and stuff.
Yeah. Apart from that, yeah.
Do better, yeah.
Yeah. I'd put this in the middle somewhere. I think Hawkeye's probably better than this, I guess. I mean, it's a little bit more enjoyable than this, probably, Hawkeye. Loki's probably better than this. It's probably around the same as, like, WandaVision. So it's all, they're all, around the same.
They're all about the same.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, they're all about the same.
Yeah.
People are like, Loki's amazing. It's about the same. It's good. It's about the same.
At the time, I thought Loki was really good, but over time, I feel like it wasn't that good. I wouldn't watch it again.
Yeah, I think all of them over time, you're just like, this isn't that great.
Well, a thing we didn't bring up in the Doctor Strange episode was I thought Tom Hiddleston was meant to be in that movie.
Yeah, I thought he was as well.
Yeah.
Maybe he got cut.
Anything else on Moonknight? This was probably our most lackluster review in a long time.
Anticipated review of all time. But like many things in Phase 4, it will disappoint you. So,
well, next we still got to watch Top Gun Maverick. We will watch it, even though it's been like more than a month since it's come out, because it's seemingly breaking all kinds of records. Do you know? I'll go through all the records it's going to break in the episode, but it's going to be Tom Cruise's highest grossing movie, and this was actually really surprising to me. But he's never had a movie that's made $1 billion, which is kind of surprising because I thought one of the Mission Impossible movies might have made that much, but no, it's doing exceedingly well. And another stat about Tom Cruise: he's had a movie that's opened over 100. It's grossed over $100 million in the last 5 decades. In each of the last 5 decades. So 80s, 90s, 2000s, 10s, 20s.
Cool.
Yeah. Random stat. Can you name one other actor that's done the same thing?
Probably like Samuel L. Jackson or something.
Harrison Ford is one. If he gets another $100 million movie in this decade, which he probably will because he's in the next Indiana Jones, right? Yeah, he'll have it over 6 decades. So 6 consecutive decades. But yeah. Harrison Ford, and I think there was one other. I think like Sandra Bullock and Brad Pitt or something have done it over 4 decades, but Tom Cruise has done it over 5, and he still looks like he's going to act for like the next 30 years. So,
unless he dies,
unless he dies,
it's a fact. Unless he dies, if he dies, he's not going to do it.
Cool. So, we got Top Gun Maverick that we're going to watch. We watched Jurassic World Dominion. We'll talk about that soon.
Sucked. It's a little...
Yeah, that's a sneak peek of our review. What else? With Stranger Things, we were going to do one for Volume 1 of Season 4 and then Volume 2, but Volume 2 is coming out in like 2 days, so we'll do Volume 2 and Volume 1 together. So that's coming up. And anything else that we've missed that we wanted to watch? Lightyear, we'll probably watch that at some stage.
There's probably stuff, but I hear Lightyear's not great.
Minions: The Rise of Gru.
Yeah, I'm not watching that, but you can if you want. That's it's a free world. You can watch what you need to. Yes. Minions is apparently not that bad. I hear it's actually better than Lightyear. Okay,
well, why don't you watch Minions?
I don't want to watch either.
Yeah, okay. And Thor: Love and Thunder is set to release this week after, I think. Or is it next week?
Next week, yeah.
Next week, okay. So that snuck up on us. So that, we've got a lot of stuff coming up. So we'll do that. We'll be doing a lot of catch up in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll be recording pretty regularly after that. So stay tuned for all of that. Black Phone, we watched it. We're not going to do a full episode on it because there's not that much to talk about. And since Ethan Hawke was in this, we'll talk about him.
There's a phone that's black. Yeah,
there's a phone that's black in a basement, and it rings even though it's not connected. And and then horror stuff happens. Well, it's not really. I told you when we watched it, but I didn't feel like it was really a horror movie. It was more like a serial killer mystery type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty decent.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So it's directed by Scott Derrickson, who directed the first Doctor Strange movie. He was meant to direct the second one, but left due to creative differences, and then he made this movie. It's set in like the 80s or 70s? 70s, I think. So it's a period piece, and it's interesting. It's got some supernatural elements, and it was pretty decent. Ethan Hawke plays a pretty good serial killer. Yeah, I think we'd probably give that a cosmic recalibration. It's pretty decent. If you like horror and mysteries, watch
I thought it was pretty decent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Worth a watch.
Other things I've been watching. So I was watching. Have you seen the O.J. Simpson documentary?
No.
Okay. For some reason, I was watching it. It actually won the Academy Award when it came out for Best Documentary. So it's actually, I didn't know that much about O.J. Simpson, apart from like he was an NFL superstar and then he murdered his wife.
Allegedly.
Yeah. It's people, when you watch it, you know it's probably him. Like there's no reason it couldn't be him. I know they still deny it, but it's quite interesting because the whole trial, it went from proving that he did the murder to proving that the LAPD is racist, and it turned into like this big race, like it's basically a race thing based on race. And the only reason he got acquitted was because he was a black man, but for his whole life he never associated with being a black man. So in the documentary, you'll see like when he was a rising star in the NFL, he never associated with his roots. He was always hanging around like rich white men, and he like lived in an estate with all the rich white people, and he always just saw himself as OJ and not as an African American. But interestingly, because of his race, he got acquitted and didn't go to jail for murder. He did end up going to jail for something else after that, though. So, yeah, it's interesting, though. Interesting thing that happened in history. Do you know how he, like the day after, or like it was like within a week after Nicole Brown Simpson got murdered, the police wanted to take him to, or like wanted to arrest him, but like, it wasn't like an arrest. It was like they were just like come to the police department, and then he tried to escape. And they chased him on. It was
he was in a white van.
Yeah,
and it was
like a slow. Yeah. It was like a slow speed chase as well. Like it wasn't like
I know a surprising amount about it without ever having watched anything on it.
Yeah,
just because it's like I don't know, people talk about it and it's in pop culture.
Yeah, and apparently
Robert Kardashian was his lawyer.
Yes, he was. Like he was actually his friend, so they like lived in the same estate, so they were pretty good friends even before the trial. But like Robert Kardashian wasn't like one of the main lawyers in his team, so like he had like the best lawyers. That's also why he won, because he was rich and he could pay for the best lawyers. But yeah, in the van when he was escaping, they found like a fake mustache and like cash and stuff, so he was planning to like put on a disguise and leave the country or something. So yeah, he thought that would work.
We never know, it could have.
The reason I got onto this show was because I was weirdly very interested in the Johnny Depp trial as well, so I spent more time than I should have watching videos from the Johnny Depp trial, and a lot of people were saying like after the OJ trial, this was the most publicized court proceeding. So, you know, I was watching a lot of the Johnny Depp stuff and I'm like, oh, let's check out the OJ stuff. And obviously what OJ did was much worse. Have you seen the show? There's a People vs. OJ Simpson.
No, I've genuinely not seen anything about it. I feel like I know enough about it that I don't need to watch anything about it.
Yeah. I started watching the show after the documentary. The show's like, it's pretty critically acclaimed, but I thought it's like they talk more about like the lawyers' backgrounds and stuff. So they go into like the backstory of like the families of the lawyers and stuff, rather than the actual case itself.
So it's just an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Yeah, there's a lot of Kardashian fans. Like they're like kids in the show, so that they show Robert Kardashian with his kids, and like for some reason their kids are in it, even though they don't really need to be in it. That's my review of everything O.J. Simpson. All right. Anything else? Have you been watching Boys?
Yes, I have. It's good. Watch it. That's my short review of Boys.
Yeah, we haven't actually talked about Boys at all on this show. So at some stage, I will catch up on all 3 seasons and we'll talk about it. At some stage. So I've heard it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's Game of Thrones meets superheroes, essentially.
Was there an animated Boys show? Because I saw some like...
I think there was. I haven't seen it.
I've seen some things on like TikTok or something where they had
it's like
clips
Boys
from.
Unleashed or some shit.
But yeah, boys, we'll talk about that soon.
I think that's it.
Cool.
You can contact us at Gmail, cognitive recalibration podcast at gmail.com, or on all other platforms at cognitive recalibration.
And if you want to support the show, you can do so via giving us a review on iTunes and Spotify. That will make us more discoverable on search engines. But because of the quality of the review that we had today, I'm not going to be offended if you don't give us a review or a good review anyway.
Yeah, give us a bad review. I want to hear the bad ones.
Yeah. One of my friends was saying that Moonknight is in a separate universe.
Cool.
He just wanted us to mention that in this episode, so I mentioned it. It's in a separate universe, whatever that means.
He lives in his own space.
Yeah. Kind of like Deadpool.
That's an inside joke for another podcast. We're plugging other podcasts in this now.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll be back in the next episode, probably with Jurassic World Dominion and then all the other stuff that we've missed out on. So stay tuned and hope you're all staying safe. We'll see you in the next one.
See ya.